Everyone's struggle is individual, but it is not unique. All of life is involved. Struggle is an inescapable aspect of life itself. So wrote the great Howard Thurman. Many of you are new to the college, and you have still trying to make some adjustments as you're navigating through this place called Medgar Evers College. Last semester, I outlined my vision to make Medgar Evers the most student-centered college in CUNY and beyond. What does that mean? It means that Medgar Evers College is taking a holistic approach to student support that moves beyond the classroom, that moves beyond the offices of faculty. I want to get to know you as a student and why you are here. Let me tell you one of the things that happens when I have these conversations with you. I've met a student, I've gotten to know a student who has some issues. And in a Ford Foundation address, I talked about this particular student and some of the issues that this student is confronted with in her day-to-day living and being a student. And when I completed my address and I remained at the Ford Foundation for the rest of the day to participate in the conference, someone sent me an envelope. And in the envelope was a piece of money. And this woman said, "Would you please give this to the student that you described today?" Now, obviously, I did not identify the student by name, but the situation was such that, and the conditions that we were addressing in the Ford Foundation conference was focused on access and student success. And I described how we have policies and procedures as a country, as a state, as a city, that gets in the way of student success. And this young woman wanted to help this particular student. I want to know your stories because I can better talk about Medgar Evers College when I know you. My experiences, the beginning to work at age 12, my family, my church, my spiritual life, forged the person who stands here before you today. Everything I have in my life, I have worked hard to get. Yet, I understand that I did not get it all on my own. And I want you to understand that my being here as president is all about the village that reared me, the village that nurtured me, and refused to allow me to succumb to the temptation of the streets. I received some tough love mixed with encouragement that pushed me to reach far beyond my own personal goals and dreams. I had mentors, I had teachers, I had parents, I had church folk, and friends that supported me and my role here. This is going to happen to you. And it's going to happen to you because you're going to reach out and develop and nurture the relationships that we want you to develop and have here. I want to make sure that when you leave here today, that you're joining a family of doers. Regardless of what you may hear before you got here, what you may hear after you got here, this is a college where both faculty and staff are doers. As president, I am encouraging a culture where faculty and staff work together to make certain that students always feel welcome. This means from the first moment that you are called to ask about enrollment, or you walk in with concerns about how to pay for school, whatever the interaction is, it ought to be a positive one. Now, that doesn't mean that always things will go as planned. Well, I think we got to take a look at that. And I'm gonna ask my folk to take a look at that because we are putting students at a disadvantage. We want to be more student-centered. We can't change everything right away, but we understand the issues and concerns that we need to address, and we're going to work to try to resolve them. Yes, we are here to provide you with a foundation, but ultimately, you must take personal responsibility for what happens to you, for what happens to your destiny. You will have to take the wheel and soon assume greater control for what happens to you here at Medgar Evers College. I believe that I have the responsibility to tell you that you have no right to give up when things get tough. Let me repeat that. I'm here to tell you, you have no right to turn around when things get tough. I want you to say that. I have no right to turn back when things get tough. So we don't have the right to give up when the going gets tough. You've heard that saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Well, you're going to face toughness at Medgar Evers College. As much as I want to support you and embrace all of you, you're going to have challenges with each other. You're going to have challenges with me. You're going to have challenges with government. You're going to have Student Government Association. You're going to have challenges with the faculty. You have no right to give up. You have a responsibility to continue. The people of Haiti know what tough times are about. There are more than 630 students of Haitian descent in Medgar Evers College. Perhaps some of you are sitting amongst us today. There are students like Jeff Paul, a Haitian American of the Haitian American Student Association. His mind was troubled and probably still is troubled by the dilemma he faced being a student here and having family in Haiti. I read an article that featured Jeff Paul and documented the dilemma that he and many other Haitian students face today. Should they stay in the United States, where they can continue with their studies, and even some like Jeff who work, and they send a little money home? Or should they return to Haiti and reunite with their friends and family, many of them who are still suffering and barely making it? Students like Jeff Paul knows what tough going means. So I tell you and I tell others, you have to persevere in the face of tough times. In his autobiography, and I will soon be done, preachers say that, don't they? And then they keep going and going, don't they? In his autobiography, Up From Slavery, Booker T. Washington tells a story. There's a chapter in which he opens and talks about a woman who comes into his classroom in Tuskegee, Alabama, and she has no money, and she knows that he's trying to raise money to build a school for black kids in Tuskegee, Alabama. And this woman wants to give him a gift, but she has no money. So guess what she gives him? She gives him 6 eggs. 6 lousy eggs. Washington writes of his encounter with this woman, and he says that she was about 70 years of age. She hobbled in the room on a cane. She was dressed in rags, and he underscored that her rags were clean. Her pants were pulled up. Her dress was not overly tight. She was comfortable, and she was representing, y'all. But this woman with no schooling, this former slave, wanted to make a contribution to Tuskegee Institute. And so she gave Booker T. Washington those 6 eggs. It has become a personal tradition of mine over the last 30 years to give audiences 6 eggs. And I have 6 eggs for you that I want you to use as you continue your matriculation here at Medgar College. The first egg that I want to give you is the egg of responsibility. Abraham Lincoln said, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today." And so I want to give you the egg of responsibility because you have to take ownership of your life. If you just came out of high school this past June, you've had some time to be out there, haven't you? And if you've been away from education for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or 10 years, your first step toward taking ownership is being here now at this time. That's part of taking responsibility. Your education, in spite of everything that I may have said about Dr. Johnson, about the deans, about the chairs and the faculty, ultimately, it's your education. And you could not have confronted the kind of bigotry and the kind of bad teaching that I've confronted during my few decades of life. There will be people, there will be friends, there will be folk that you simply run into in the street whose simple task in life is to get you off track. You have to take responsibilities for yourselves and your life. We're going to support you, we're going to nurture you, but we cannot give you that sense of responsibility that you have to have.